This video is an introduction to the idea of character motivation. So we're going to need a working definition. What is character motivation? Motivation is the reason that explains a character's actions. So we see the carrot there in front of the rabbit. If the rabbit were to start moving across the floor, its motivation would be the hunger it feels for the carrot. Motivation is the reason for the character's action. Let's look at an example. Bruce and Don are by the pool. Don slips and falls and hits his head and falls into the pool. So let's say Bruce's actions were to throw a life preserver into the pool for Don. Or what if Bruce jumped into the pool to save Don? Or Bruce could grab the skimmer and reach the long pole out to Don to try to save him. Those are all three possible actions. So we ask ourselves, what's the motivation? What's the reason for the character acting that way? Why is he trying to save Don? The reason would be concern for human life would be motivation. That be the nature of that character of wanting to save his friend and make sure that he was okay. So that's our motivation. But what if Bruce's actions were different? What if Bruce jumped into the pool and pushed Don down and held him underwater? Much different, darker action with a different motivation. So, what's the motivation in that case for such a drastic action of trying to drown Don in the pool? Well, maybe he feels envy towards Don, or he's jealous of Don for something he has, or just a rage towards Don. So, those are the reasons for that action. I want to make sure that we see the distinction between a character's traits and a character's motivation. We look at character actions for both of these things, but the traits, when we infer a trait, we're talking about the qualities, attitudes, and the values of a character. So we make an inference based on what they say and how they act and what they do, and then we come up with a descriptive adjective and we describe the character with a trait. Motivation is the reason for the character taking the actions that they do. Motivation is usually character's needs, character's feelings, or character desires. So in the first instance, Bruce felt the need to save his friend. That concern for human life was his feeling. In the second case of trying to drown him, it was that envy or rage or jealousy that he was feeling that became his motivation. In general, if you want to find a character's motivation, you should ask yourself, what does the character want or what does the character need? So this concludes our basic introduction. In future videos, we'll take a closer look at motivation and analyze specific cases.